How's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel.
And I'm Christian.
And we are joined by the Wildcat Baylum Lynx. How are you doing tonight, Baylum?
I'm doing good, man. How about you guys?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty fantastic. I'm so excited to talk to you, man.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for, I think we had this planned out for like a month now. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we do. We're just booking ourselves out.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So we're excited to talk with you. We originally, we were kind of talking about this a little bit before, but we had Bruno Bob on, and he was talking about the guys that he did his last Iron Man challenge, and he mentioned that you were one of those guys and one of the guys to look out with. So we thought, well, we should definitely reach out. We haven't talked to a lot of people from the West Coast area. We had, do you know Gino Rivera?
Yeah, that's my guy, dude. He's right next door in Arizona.
Yeah, we talked to him last week,
awesome,
so
man.
We're slowly branching out. But we thought you two guys would be the perfect way to get into that. So we're excited to talk with you today.
Yeah, you couldn't trust anybody better, man. Gino's awesome, dude. Dude's a workhorse, and he's a cool cat.
Yeah, he does a lot of characters too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's well versed.
Well, he was more ready for the podcast than we were ready for him.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience doing all this stuff, man. He's done this. Dude, he's been doing this for so long now. It's crazy. He actually gave me one of my. You guys remember Cactus League Wrestling?
No, but catch us up.
So, well, there was this thing called Cactus League Wrestling. It was kind of like I think they started out in Arizona, but then they kind of like it was like a moving promotion a little bit.
Yeah.
And like something, it's not around anymore because something went sour with the promoter and the owner or something. Pretty like did some pretty messed up stuff. But my I want to say my third match ever. My second match ever. They came to Fort Collins, like maybe like an hour 20ish minutes up north from Denver, from where I'm at. And they were doing a show, and they were doing like a little tryout thing.
Yeah.
And I went, and Gino was part of those guys, and he actually chose me to have a match.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's how I ended up first meeting the guy.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Who knew that our little plug would be a story? That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the goal here is really to understand your story. So I guess the best place to start typically is the beginning. When you're a kid, what got you into wrestling? Who's a guy that you like naturally gravitated towards?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess it's like the typical stuff, man. Like I gravitated towards like Ric Flair and like Shawn Michaels, like those two for sure. For me, like way earlier on, I gravitated towards those guys because like to me they were so larger than life.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair, what he always says, my shoes cost more than your house, and like to me, like I'd like it was just I didn't understand the whole like good guy bad guy thing back then, but like it was so entertaining. I'm like, this guy is literally like the epitome of like mankind, because I believed all the expensive stuff and everything. It was cool. And then Shawn Michaels, so entertaining to watch, and he was just so athletic and so good, and how way he sold things and stuff. It was so good to watch, and I loved it. And so those two I really gravitated towards growing up when I was growing up watching it.
The thing with Flair that's crazy to me is like to this day I don't know how much of what he was saying was a lie though.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then I ain't even gonna ask, man, either.
and same thing with Michaels, because like I'm of the belief like he is, when it comes to babyface, good guy, like he's the man. He's just
without a doubt, dude. Oh my God, without a doubt.
He was the first guy. He was the guy who got me into wrestling, really, because it's just like you believe him the whole time. He's just this scrappy underdog that's just like you're rooting for him, and he gets like he's just losing 99%, and then it's like, oh, you believe in that comeback. You want
right? Well, it's because that's the thing too. Is like, dude, he had like when it came to like you have it building an emotional connection. He was always right there with how he did his everything, the way he sold, his facial expressions, the stuff that he did. Like it was just. I look at it now and I'm like, it all just makes sense. There's nothing wasted, and that's why everybody, no matter what, will always cheer for this guy, because he had it. Like if there was a formula to be a over baby face, he had it memorized.
Yeah, even like with his match with Ric Flair when the retirement match, just you,
Yep.
you see that and everybody automatically thinks of something that he mouthed. Like it's not even something that like was really heard on camera. He just said, "I'm sorry, I loved you," and then he kicked Ric Flair in the face. And like something as small as that, it just like painted this whole story and provided all these emotions.
Oh yeah, dude. Like at that point, everyone's just like, oh.
Yeah,
And then it happened. And you knew you had to like you knew this was going to be the end outcome.
yeah.
You know,
Awesome.
it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So definitely Shawn Michaels for sure. For those, definitely those two. Me growing.
What's your earliest memory of wrestling? Like, do you remember any of the characters you watched? Remember the show at all? Like, what's as far if you can't go super far back, just kind of paint us a picture.
That's a tough one, man. Honestly, I mean, to be fair, I've been like I was a fan for like my whole life basically. As a kid, my dad showed me these guys. My dad was a huge fan of Goldberg and WCW, and I love Goldberg as well too. I mean, I did back then. Now, not so much, but like back then, I was just like, dude, this guy's monster, is crazy. But then, when like Sting started coming around with the you know, when I first saw him do his little crow gimmick up in the rafters, I was just like, whoa, whoa. And then after that, I was just like, all right, this is like everything just got real. This is it. This is like,
Yeah.
wow.
It's crazy. Sting is still he had a match last week.
Dude, he's okay. So, oh my God, I knew he was a big dude. I really knew he was a big guy. I just didn't know how big he actually was. When I was in AEW on the New Year's Bash, I met the guy, and he's so tall. Holy shit, he's so tall. I'm like, yo, man, I didn't know you were this tall, man. And then from there, I can imagine him just back in his prime, all yoked up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, what a freak of nature. That dude's huge.
Yeah. And the change of his character too, like he went from this like super like baby face like surfer dude with face paint, and
Yeah.
then to a different character with different face paint, but like kind of like a scary like always watching you carry around a baseball bat. One of the guys, just like Shawn Michaels, like, is kind of able to reinvent himself.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. Oh my God, it was awesome.
Awesome.
So we're gonna jump around a little bit. You mentioned AEW. You had your match with Hook, right?
Yes.
Can you kind of talk us through that day, how that came about, and just kind of tell us that story?
Oh man, so I was like, I was pretty nervous for the most. This was my first time ever doing anything with a big company, like legitimate big company. Since I started wrestling, I've been doing this for only 4 years, and so like, I'd never done anything like this before at all. But the funny thing is, as the day was going, it felt pretty normal to me, just because of how much we do Rocky Mountain Pro. My trainer Yaden, he runs a pretty tight ship, and he's always wanting to prepare us for moments like these, for times like these to happen and stuff. So like the schedule of how much we do wrestle with Rocky Mountain Pro is like that, you know, and how he wants us to be, and how he wants us to like prepare ourselves and act, you know, and all that stuff. So like by the time it came around, I was just kind of like another day for the most part. After as once I kind of got past the nerves, you know. And but dude, yeah, once I was inside. Once I got inside the stadium, I was like beyond starstruck. This was the first time I saw anybody that I grew up watching and like within an arm's length of me, and I'm like, wow. It was definitely an experience, and then I realized how big all these guys were. And I'm like, man, I really am small compared to all these guys. I mean, I'm like really, like everyone was so jacked, or just a big human in general. Like Jeff, like I met Matt Hardy, and that dude's even how old he is now. He's still very well put together, very solid human, you know. And but it was cool because, like, you know, like if I met AJ Styles that night, I would have met every single person that I loved watching in high school when it came to the TNA X division.
That's awesome.
And so I mean, if I met him that night, I probably could have died happy the next day. But so I mean, so it was cool. And then you know, like I had it was, like I said, I was kind of well prepared for that. You know, Rocky Mountain Pro did a really good job at preparing its students for you know what comes next or whatever. And so when because it kept changing. A lot of things kept changing back and forth. I would have him. I would be something on dark, or I would have to do something else, and then or it would change back to dark, and then I would or you're gonna do this, but we don't know your partner or something.
Yeah.
I just kept going back and forth. I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
Until finally they're just like, I was just like, hey, you know what? My name's off the board. Okay, it's we're like an hour away from show starting. There's no way they're gonna change it, so I'm just gonna go just change. I'm gonna go do security or something.
Yeah.
And in the middle of me changing, Sean Dean comes up to me and he was just like, hey, what are you doing? I was just like, I'm changing for like do security. And he's just like, oh no, you got a match with Hook. Just so keep your gear on. I was just like, oh okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I just like put all my stuff right back on, and I'm just chilling. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, so where's the guy at? And I'm like, dude, this thing's about to start. Like,
Yeah.
And then Dark Hat starts, and I'm just like, I still need to talk to this dude. I was just like, I'm just sitting here. Like, I feel bad for just standing there, just not doing nothing. You know, I'm like, I feel like I'm like showing these guys a very bad picture right now. You know.
Yeah.
But then from there, I finally saw him, and we were talking about what was going on. And then I realized I was like, oh, I know what this is. Okay, that's fine. It's whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
And from there, he's like, all right, but I'll see you on Dynamite. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? There's no way. And then literally like 10 minutes after that, Taz came up to talk to me about everything with the match. And and after that, I solidified. I'm like, oh, this is Dynamite.
Yeah.
Taz was the one agenting the match.
He was just because he's his son, so he walks out, looks out and stuff and everything, and so I know, which is cool because I really wanted to make sure I made a good impression on Taz because as you've been able to tell with all the the dark stuff that they do, Taz really kind of drills into some of these enhancement guys, So I was like, I really wanted to be someone that he doesn't do that with.
Yeah, especially with his son.
For reals, big time. So after that, I was like, oh, pressure's on.
Yeah.
But it was, dude. From there, like when I got out there, I got a really good pop from the crowd, the Colorado crowd. I kind of it kind of opened my eyes on how much I actually am doing around here and how many people do know me around here. So that was cool. And then as soon as the bell rang, it was like all the nerves kind of just went away. Like I said, Rocky Mountain Pro does a lot of stuff and gets us ready for a lot of different things. And as soon as that bell rang, it was just like another day in the office, man.
Yeah. How far into like Hook's start was that? Because it was kind of this thing where he was this like built up like monster kind of guy.
We were still in that process with that because our match happened right before his and Lee Moriarty's match. Well, yeah, him and Lee's match, right? Because they led it to a stare down right as soon as we were done.
Okay.
So it was still building to all that, and then from there, of course, they did him and Jungle Boy tagging, against him and somebody else, and so that was kind of like the last, like I want to say like the last match, like enhancement match that they had to make, to build this guy up for, the eventual square off with the guy.
Yeah. How this was a big thing in our little group of when Hook started of being like, whoa, he's really way too good for, I guess, because no one had really heard of him, and he out the gate is just so technically sound.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your, I guess, impression going in, and did it change after the match?
Oh, not at all, actually, dude. He was actually really cool dude, real cool cat, man. He was real laid back, and he was really easy to work with, and like, I mean, everybody saw him. It was a 2-minute squash match, dude. That's all it was. I was there to make the guy look good, and that's it. And I knew that was a deal. As soon as we started talking, like, I knew the deal, and I was totally fine with it, because I'm like, well, I mean, that's what I'm here for, anyways. And so like, he came up to me, he's like, okay, well, so like, you good with this? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you know what this is, right? And I was like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. Like, I'm not even worried about it. He's like, yeah. He's like, you don't want anything? I was like, dude, nah, dude, don't even worry about it. Like, I know exactly what this is. And then talking to Taz, I definitely made the right move by not trying to do anything back. He was just telling me how everything wanted to go, because he was the agent for all that. And he was, and Taz walked away. He was just like, huh. All right, kid. Well, good job. All right, I'll see you out there. Because he was asking me, like, you know what this is? You know how this goes? And you know how to take that? And you know what this is, right? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. Like, it's all good. Yeah, you do this. Yeah, put your hand here, jump here. Don't worry about it. It's easy.
Yeah.
So,
it was cool. It was a cool guy, real laid back, and I like the way he works. He's snug. He's not stiff. He's very snug.
Yeah.
Very easy to sell. It was awesome. Dude's awesome.
Going into that kind of match where you were there to be the enhancement guy, is the goal there to get your personality over? Is it like, are you just trying to bump really well? Are you like, what's if you're not going to get like a spot in there?
Well, I was, from what I was able to gather from stuff like that, because like I figured out how to do it, because I figured out what it was, and then from there I had a little bit of time in between, and then Yaden actually ended up coming back, and that's my trainer. That's what that's he's the one that runs the school. I try to go to him for anything with wrestling wise, and so I was like, hey, so like this is what this is. I was like, you got any advice on how to do this? And he's just like, dude, just focus on moving well, be in the right position for this, selling your ass off, dude. Like this is what it is. Just that's the best thing you can do. And I was like, all right, I figured, but I just wanted to make sure. And that was all I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure I went out there and I looked well. I was presentable. That I moved well. I was easy. That I showed that I'm easy to work with, and I can make anybody look good.
Yeah.
That was my biggest goal, was to make sure that I can make this cat look like $1 million, because that's what we're kind of supposed to do, as in our roles, and so I knew that, and that's all I was really focused on, was that.
Awesome.
But I got a lot of good feedback from it too, which is, so I was pretty happy with it. And then a lot of people actually said I looked the enhancement talent looked better than the sign talent. I was like, oh wow, I don't know about that, but that's pretty cool. So I mean, I saw a lot of that like over Twitter, and even some like YouTube reviews and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're talking about Rocky Mountain Pro and your trainer. Kind of take a step back from where you are now. What point did you decide that, hey, I want to be a wrestler instead of just watching it? I actually want to do it.
Woo, this is a long story. You guys ready for this one?
Yeah,
of course.
All right, we're gonna get pretty into it. Growing up. Well, I liked wrestling a lot. I knew this cat. I wrestled him now. His name's Damon Ace, and we actually grew up together. We went to middle school and high school and stuff, and we kind of connected, watching wrestling. I'm like, yo, you like wrestling? I'm like, yo, dude, I like wrestling, man. And we started watching it all the time and stuff, and so we got super into it and everything. But then I was like towards the end of high school, I was also in the music business. I was a DJ for a long time. I was doing radio work. I was producing. That was more of like a guarantee of money.
Yeah.
So and like a guarantee, like, yeah, I can make this work and make this something. So I did. But that kind of led to a lot of bullshit, I guess, in the most easiest way of saying it, but so I started developing a really bad drinking problem, and I was getting really heavily into drugs, like for a long time. It was a consistent thing. My last like 3 years I was doing it, I was like my worst. I was severely depressed, and it was just a lot of bad stuff in life, man. It was a lot. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. I didn't want anything to do with me. I really didn't care if I woke up the next day or not.
Yeah.
And it got pretty bad. But then I don't know what happened. I kind of forgot the day of everything. But like, it was in June in 2018 or something, or 2017 or whatever. Anyway, I ended up getting a DUI. But I was like blacked out. I didn't know what was going on. And but I had a lot of drugs in the car. That was my downfall, was that. So I ended up going to jail for a while. They couldn't figure out what the hell to do with me, because luckily a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, found me a really good lawyer, like a really good one. And the dude saved my ass, for real. And I mean, all that other shit is set aside. When I came out, I got a second chance at life.
Yeah.
And I got like a legit second chance. And I was like, I'm not gonna waste it. This is like, I don't know what just happened, but I'm not gonna waste it. And then I ended up hearing that Damon started wrestling, and I called him up and I was like, hey man, where you at? What are you doing? Like, what's going on with this and that and stuff? And he was like, oh, I was getting ready to call you, man, because I heard what happened. Like, it's pretty crazy what happened, dude. But like, I think this is like, I don't know, someone's telling me like this is the time to do it.
Mm.
And so we went. So he was training at this place. So it was like 24/7 extreme gym or something. It had a couple. It was like a lot of the Denver indies. You were using it as a training facility.
Yeah.
And because there was that one, and then there was Rocky Mountain Pro, and then there was, I think that was it at the time, and that was a total. Now they were a little bit more different stuff, totally separate
Uh-huh.
at this time. But he was there, and he brought me in, and dude, after that, I never wanted to leave the ring. I was like, this is it. This is what I want, and I think finally I got it. And for a while, wrestling was my crutch to kind of keep me, on the straight and narrow.
Uh-huh.
I was going through a lot of stuff mentally, physically. My body was like going through some weird, was like in shock. Because like I was constantly like under the influence of something for so many years, and then I just completely stopped because I had to.
Yeah.
And my body was in shock, so it was weird, dude. It had a lot of stuff. It wasn't reacting right, and I was very imbalanced and stuff, is what they were telling me. So wrestling was kind of like my crutch to kind of keep me focused and keep me going, and keep me in the straight and narrow. And then eventually it stopped being a crutch and more of like, this is me. This is what I want. This is how I want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm 110%. I'm all in. This is it. And then that's kind of how and then from there I just kept wrestling over and over again. And I spent my first year with those guys, and then I kind of decided to make the jump into Rocky Mountain Pro. So like in the like Yaden, I went to a few of the Rocky Mountain Pro shows because there's like a lot of like stupid like politics and like local shit. Like it's all dumb stuff, man. And I'm not that type of person. I don't care. I base my views and opinions off of like my own personal experiences from people and stuff.
Yeah.
So everything I was hearing was always just noise. But I was just going to, I went to a few Rocky Mountain Pro shows and stuff, and people noticed me. And then I was there and everything, and Aiden was talking to me, and he offered me a free week of training with those guys. And like at that time, or even now, I have never once heard of them ever doing that.
Yeah.
And as soon as that week was done, I was like, dude, this is it. I'm all for it, man. I'm changing over here. And then the world shut down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stopped everything from there. But once he started getting back up and running again, I was right there. And then from there, Damon Ace came and actually followed. He followed me over there. Lil Krem followed me over there. And we kind of just went over to Rocky Mountain Pro. And then, man, it was probably the best decision we ever made, because they set us up very well. They take care of you. They teach you everything you need to know. And on top of that, dude, even now, man, the amount of reps that we get, our schedule's nuts.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I've seen some stuff, like I think even Gino has shared some of you as well, but it's like a full-blown TV show, it seems like.
Yeah. So we have on Tuesdays, we have our weekly show called Charged. And that's on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on YouTube. Rocky Mountain, just go to Rocky Mountain Pro on YouTube. And so that we have a new weekly episodic Charged every Tuesday. And then on Thursdays, every Thursday is a live one. Is a live Rocky Mountain Pro experience, and that's called Ignition. That's more of like a they say it's a student showcase type of show or whatever, but dude, it's elevated to way more than just that.
Yeah.
But it's basically like for us on a very smaller scale. We got Raw, we got SmackDown, we got Charge, we got Ignition. It's like it's elevated to something way higher than that. You can we do that every Thursday. That's live. With the ones that happen on the Charged happens, we get together once every 2 months, and we record 2 months of the TV in one day. Very, very long day. Long day. But I mean, doing stuff like that, it prepares you for all these different things, man. Like I said, when people come, not calling me, I'm ready for whatever, because I have all the experience with this stuff. And then that's not even including all the house shows that we do. And so like, yeah, it's a lot, man. And then weekends I'm not wrestling with Rocky Mountain Pro. I'm traveling everywhere that I can, wrestling everywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely something we'll link below. And definitely would check out, because I don't think any other place is doing that, or at least to my knowledge, is like running
At
it
least not at that frequent of a level.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah, like seriously, we do it's very frequent. Everything that we do is there's something new every week. There's two things you're gonna get new every single week from us, and that's if you don't go to the house shows, online. If you from there we got them from there. The weekends we got house shows all the time.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much we wrestle, dude. Like I wrestle Rocky Mountain Pro 3 to 4 times a week. In front of a crowd 3 to 4 times a week.
That's a great experience too.
Oh, without a doubt, man. I get you some of our newer guys. I keep telling them, I'm like, you guys are lucky because like you guys don't know how many matches you guys get within your first month. People get that in 1 year.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. When you started wrestling, really appreciate you sharing all that with us too about your experience. It seems like wrestling kind of saved you, and we've heard similar stories about wrestling kind of doing that for other people. But what was your when you were going into it? Did you have any idea for what your character, what you wanted that to be?
Absolutely no idea. Oh my god, dude, I'm like the most uncreative person in the whole world. I had no idea what I was going to do, like wrestling character wise. I knew I had to kind of go in that direction because like all the greatest wrestlers of our time in any generation were like really big, characters and stuff.
Yeah.
So I knew that I knew I had to. I just never really figured out what it was for a long time, dude. That was definitely the hardest part for me. Was that the wrestling wasn't the hard part. It was the figuring out how to put it together in a character and make it all work and mesh and flow and all that stuff. It was that was the hard part.
Yeah.
And I had kind of some idea. Like I said, I really didn't. So I figured I would like, okay, let's lean in more into my heritage. I'm a proud Chicano, Mexican American. My parents are immigrants to this great country, and so I was like, maybe I'll follow along, my heritage and stuff. I was always a fan of like the Jaguar Warriors, and so I was like, okay, maybe I can kind of go with that, which is funny because I'm a huge fighting game fan. I love fighting games.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter, Tekken. Like I love fighting games so much, and like one of my favorite characters is King from Tekken.
Yeah.
And so he had the Jaguar mask and everything, and which is funny because I didn't know anything about his real life influences in wrestling. I didn't know until later on.
Yeah.
But I was like Jaguar wrestlers, the Jaguar. Okay, let's kind of put those together. Let's kind of put those and kind of just run with it. And like an older way, it's newer, but like an older way of calling the Jaguar Warriors was Balooms. And I was like, okay, let me modernize it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's where we came up with Baylum. And I was like, you know what, let's do that. Let's stick with it because I don't think that I never met a single person with that name.
Yeah, no, I haven't either.
So I was like, let's do that. And then from there, like I know I'm never gonna be a big guy. I'm just my body's never gonna be that. Like I'm like on a good day, I'm close to 200 pounds. But like a little Jaguar we call him little Lynx, so Baylum Lynx.
That's awesome. That's a really, you said you weren't super creative, but that's
I give yourself some credit because that's actually really innovative and unique to you. Like that's not like that template. Oh, I'm an indie wrestler character. That's a character. That's solid, dude.
Yeah. And then it's kind of what I used to like for like the name and like the inspiration and stuff. So, so like that's where like the big cat stuff started coming around, especially specifically the Jaguar emblems and stuff that I have, for my gear and stuff and everything. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of lean into this and that, and then, but it wasn't until like maybe three or two, dude, honestly, maybe 2 years ago, where I started finally really nailing down the character of what I'm going to start doing. And calling myself like the Wildcat and Animal and stuff, because like it was I'm a very like aggressive person in general. I always think with my emotions. I've always followed my gut instincts, and my sense of smell always kind of just carries me everywhere. And so it's a very I'm a very like primal type person, like in real life. Like a lot of the things that people try to not accept about themselves in today's age, like wanting to punch people in the face. I'm all for it. It's a very primal thing. I still think we're hunters and stuff. I'm okay with confrontations. I'm okay with accepting my macho-ness, I guess is the only way I know how to put it, as a man, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like very old school type of way. So I was like, maybe I can spin myself into kind of something differently. And so that's where the Wildcat started coming in, because I'm that person, that Baylum Lynx, who embraced his animal instincts.
Yeah.
He's embraced his primal side, because that's just what he is. He's accepted it. He doesn't try to push it away, but he's accepted it. And with him, you're gonna get the beast and the man, the best of both in one person.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, if I am just making an assumption, you tell me I'm making an assumption. But I see your shirt. I think I see a Vegeta up there on that shelf. I see a bunch of Funko Pops. At least I think they're Funko Pops.
Yep. They are.
Has I guess anime or any kind of other forms of media influence, whether it's your promo style, in ring style, character work, has that an influence?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Oh my god, without a doubt. I'm a huge nerd. I love like movies, video games, anime. I'm huge on anime. Like, yeah, I can see Vegeta shirt. Actually, my whole right sleeve is all Dragon Ball Z.
Who's your favorite character?
Vegeta, without a doubt, dude. That's my dog. That's my guy.
That's awesome.
But like, yeah, those guys definitely helped influence a lot of stuff. Big time.
That's awesome, man. I was more of a Future Trunks guy, but I'm right there with you. I grew up with it, and it's just one of those things that I think I'll forever kind of be into it.
Yeah, because I don't know if you just saw. I just posted something on Instagram and on my Facebook. I was like a side-by-side picture of me and King from Tekken, because I was doing the same point, and I never realized it until I saw that picture, and I was like, right away, popped into my head.
What a happy coincidence. That's amazing.
So it's like I was like, damn, because like I said, I love that character. I loved what he did and how he and everything. And like the funny thing is, I never knew he was an actual wrestler until like I started, like I started getting smart and realizing this stuff. And then from there, that led me to finding Tiger Mask. And I love wrestling like Tiger Mask because I love doing what he does. He was always so amazing. I'm like, and it all kind of just came together,
Yeah.
I'm kind of floored by it, and I kind of figured this out when we interviewed Kid Bandit. That like how other forms of media can influence wrestling. Like,
without a doubt, dude.
It's just wild to me, like how much people pull from other places.
Well, it's like it also teaches like some of these things, some of these forms of media, they actually teach you a lot of good things. And some stuff you hold on to it, like for example, the Phantom Menace, Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh,
I think Qui-Gon Jinn is like the most like important character out of the entire franchise, and I'm willing to fight with somebody on that one. But like some of the things that he says really do apply well to a lot of things in life, and I grew up watching that, so like I learned shit from him, so when people say people do learn from these things, these other forms of media all the time, because they always some of them have a lot of good things in them,
Perception is reality. That's
and with Vegeta, with Dragon Ball Z, dude, like that's the persistence of this man is ridiculous, So like you gotta admire that, and then from there, how much pride he has. Like I know pride's one of those like a soft, like a weird subject for most people, but like I have so much pride in like what I do and what I am, just like this guy, because why would I not accept that? It's what I am. It's who I am. I have to accept that. So now that I do, I have so much pride in everything that I am and everything that I do,
I think it's so amazing too, because those are qualities that you can relate to and that you identify within those characters.
Without a doubt.
From a wrestling context, people are going to watch you and identify with those same things, even if they weren't exposed to that media.
Yeah.
So by extension, your people are relating to you, and that's what's gonna get them hooked. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome. So also, for anybody listening, Baylum has no problem with fighting, and he has Strong's opinion on Qui-Gon Jinn. So
yes,
take it easy at the shows. Don't.
I'm telling you, man. Without him, the whole series would not even happen. Okay, man's most important character of all Star Wars.
I have to be careful because I will go on a rant real quick because I am the biggest Star Wars dork I know. But I really appreciate that opinion. When just a little fun fact, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, me and my dad went to the movie theaters to see Phantom Menace 6 times. So like it has a special place in my heart. So it really warms my heart to hear that you also have a
love
good
for the prequels.
Love
dude,
for the
dude, the prequels are so underrated, and people hate it. I don't know why. It is so fantastic, so good. You get to explore other things other than Tatooine. For Christ's sake, other than Tatooine, my God, people need to move away from that. There's other planets out there, you know.
Yeah,
awesome.
Like dude, like there's so I don't know why that's such a bad rep. I really don't. I mean, like I get I get they got the followings, but like at the same time, like you have to kind of look at the picture as a whole, and those are amazing as well too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
like for us, I'm not sure how like a big of an age difference there is, but those are the first Star Wars movies we went to see in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
So like this whole generation is in love with these characters because that's like the first time that they weren't watching it like with their dad or like on TV as a replay.
Well, it's that argument that like Star Wars is made for kids, and whatever you grew up on, that's what means so much to you. So anything,
without a doubt. I mean, I had all the original ones on VHS.
Yeah.
And so and I watched those religiously, especially Return of the Jedi. I watched that all the time, you know. And then from there, when the newer ones came out, same thing. I was watching them all the time, but I naturally gravitated a little bit more towards the prequels, just because I don't know. I found it way more.
Because they're rad and they're cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it was just different, and we were able to see a whole different side of a lot of different things and stuff. And I didn't even know it was like a prequel to Vader. You know, I didn't even know that until finally I'm like,
yo. Yeah. I had nightmares about Darth Sidious. So like, yeah,
Rails.
He's like super villain guys and General Grievous with the 6 arms. I think that could go in like also with wrestling. Like people now you say are like, oh, I grew up watching like Terry Gordy and Arn Anderson, and those are those guys. And then you've got the people that grew up watching Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio, and so it's very similar to wrestling in a way where people's opinions on wrestling are based on a lot of them what they grew up on.
Oh yeah, true. Like I actually just had this conversation with somebody else. I forgot who it was. I was like the difference is like we like what we like, right? Like somebody says Spinebuster, most people think Arn Anderson, right?
Yeah.
Me, I think Robert Roode when he was in TNA, because he had an amazing spine buster. You know, it was one of his biggest things. You know, because I loved the X Division of TNA. I loved TNA in general. Growing up, that's what I really got into. That's what like when I was watching, I'm like, yo, this is it right here.
I was saying to Daniel, this wasn't too long ago that I was talking to him because he wasn't watching Impact during like Rude's big world title run. I'm like, no, this was the best champion in wrestling. This was
man, dude, that was I'm actually so like their 2011 year is starting to come out because you know how they have the classic ones come up every Thursday now on their app. So the 2011 year is popping up now, and that's the year that happened with Rude, I believe, if I remember correctly. Because that's what started changing to, you know, the blue side, the blue Impact and stuff. They stopped calling it TNA, started calling it more Impact. Stuff, and that's part of it right there. And then like I'm waiting for it. I'm also waiting for my dude. I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, but like I love Austin Aries. And this time was that when I watching him around this time, it was like this is like right away I was beyond hooked.
Yeah.
Well,
that was like solidified me being a wrestling fan was when he came out with the greatest man that ever lived.
Yeah, like from a purely wrestling context, Austin Aries in that time period was like he had me hooked. I mean, because it's around the same time Punk is doing his thing, and it's 2 ROH guys leading their respective companies, and it was just really cool.
Yep. And then from there, like you know, seeing a guy like his size, you know, he never got over 200 pounds, you know, and like he was always, you know, short dude, you know, whatever, you know, he's pretty well put together and stuff. But, like doing like seeing stuff like him and like AJ Styles, like I love AJ Styles too. Like I'm like that was like, yo, I can do this. Like if these small guys can do it and like do it at this level and like doing that well, dude, I can do it. Because I was always like, you know, I'm way too small for this.
Yeah. When you started wrestling, are those some of the guys that you based your?
Oh, without a doubt, dude. Oh my God, yeah, without a doubt, man. Those guys were like, to me, like that was like so exciting, so different, and so new. That every single time, you never knew what they were gonna do when they're in there. You know, like that's like God likes. I base a lot of my wrestling that I do now off of that. Like I'm always trying to do something different, do something new, keep things kind of fresh. You know, they kind of so they kind of see the whole. You know, like I get the whole, like you create this move or this finish or whatever, and that's what it is. Like everybody, like you start like you feed it to the fans. Hey, anytime I do this, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Every single time. I totally get that, but a second time too, I'm more just like, never let them know your next step.
Yeah.
Like even a bunch of guys like that I wrestle with out of state or that they come, wrestle Rocky Mountain Pro. They're just like, yes, the man of 1,000 finishes. Which one are we gonna do this time?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's really fair though, because like even if you look from a TV perspective, there are guys like that, like Walter, never during his current IC run, never finished the same match the same way. Moxley's that way.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson went on that weird month-and-a-half run where he was tapping guys out with a different finish every week. So there is a platform for that, and I'm here for that, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it too, man. That's why I kind of like this. Like, I mean, everybody has their staples, of course, obviously, but like having different ways of doing things and what they're gonna change it up. Like that's such that I liked because it was always something so different. Like he's always on. Well, I wonder what he's gonna do this time.
Yeah, and I think there's such the platform in independent wrestling because so often if you pop up to an indie show and it might be a guy you don't know, or some guys that like we've seen very consistently, we don't know their finish half the time. So like you could do it a different way every time, and the fan doesn't lose anything from that.
No,
anything, it gives them a little bit more.
True. I mean, and that one's just more of like everybody's to each their own. It's at the end of the day, it's all, what do they say? Different flavors of ice cream. It's all ice cream at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, those guys definitely did influence a lot of what I do this day. Like, like Austin Aries, AJ Styles are definitely the top two that I've always like. This is what I'm gonna base a lot of my stuff off of these guys.
Yeah,
for sure, definitely those two. But I was always a huge fan of all of those guys, man. Like I said, when I went to AEW, dude, if I saw those guys, like I saw Christopher Daniels, I saw Samoa Joe, I saw Jay Lethal. Yeah. Like I said, if I ended up meeting up AJ Styles that day, I would have met every single person that I grew up like idolizing with wrestling.
Yeah, they're still doing it, which is crazy,
dude. Right?
Awesome. To kind of steer it a little bit of different direction, we mentioned it earlier, our introduction to you was Bruno Bob Evans, and you wrestled him in an Iron Man match. I'm curious, going into an Iron Man match, you're wrestling for an hour. What's that like? What's the preparation for that? And how do you tell that story over such a long period of time?
Dude, that was actually that last question. That was the one that kept going through my mind all the time. How am I going to be able to tell this story for an hour?
Yeah.
How am I going to be able to make sure that these people stay entertained for an hour? Preparing for something like that. It was my very first Iron Man match. I had no idea what to expect and what to do or whatever. So I literally just try to prepare as best as I can. I was working on my cardio a lot for the 2 months going up to that. I even went up to Rocky Mountain Pro and I was just like, hey man, like I'm doing this feud right now with this guy. Can you give us like a 30-minute match to kind of like prepare me for an hour after that? So like that's what I try to do to kind of prepare myself for that. And it's just there's not really anything that I could have possibly done to kind of help me prepare for that because I never experienced anything like that before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did in the middle of that. That was tough. That was grueling, man. I came out like soaked. Everything was soaked from the sweat. I was so emotional at the very end because I took put everything into it and stuff, and it was definitely something special. And if it was anybody else, I'll definitely. I probably would have said no, but I mean it was Bob. Bob he's holds such a special place in my heart. Oh man, the dude has helped me out so much. So many conversations over the phone or in person, and what to do, how to do this. He's one of the best mentors I've ever had, and still a very great friend. And I love the guy to death. So he asked me now right away. I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah, I got you. Let's do this. Awesome. And man, it was just you have to really for stuff like that, you have to wrestle with everything that you have, all your heart, all your soul has to be into there. So that way, because that right there is what keeps them engaged, the people engaged, not what you're doing for an hour, but like how you're doing it. That's the secret that I found. If you wrestle with all your heart and all your soul, no matter what you do, you're gonna get them. You're gonna keep them.
Yeah. I was listening kind of. I wasn't thinking of this when I asked the question, but I was listening to a Colt Cabana interview with Terry Funk, and he was talking about how his dad had a match with Ted DiBiase's dad. It was a last man standing. He said it went for 4.5 hours.
Wow.
Like 47 different finishes, or like and I was just thinking, like, how it, like, first off, who is sitting there for 4.5 hours watching
Right?
these two, like, because these guys weren't like, they were like, they look like Ted DiBiase and Terry Funk, like, who's watching that? But like, how do you go on that long? And it's just crazy.
Dude, yeah, that's nuts, man. That hour was grueling. It was grueling. And then I don't know, and of course we had the time on the wall, and man, I tried my hardest not to look at it at all, because then as soon as I did, I'd be like, "That's it."
Yeah.
That's fair.
It was, like I said, it was something totally different for me, man. Like I think a lot of the guys that he chose to do it, like he'd done it before. I think I saw, and I know for a fact that I was the greener of all the guys on his whole week. Yeah. I know that for a fact. And I was the greenest. I was the youngest and stuff. And like definitely the least experienced out of all those guys. So, dude, yeah, I was super nervous.
Yeah. Have you had one since then?
No. I'm gonna save those for very special occasions, because that was tough, man. It was hard. It's like not a lot of people can do something like that, dude. It's very hard. Yeah. I will say that. And in the middle of everything, I'm just like, I don't want to do this again. But at the same time, I'm just like, you know what? If it was under the right circumstances, I can definitely do it.
Yeah, the most recent one I could think of was MJF and Bryan Danielson.
Yep.
That was, I don't know if you saw that, but that was like,
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just.
But see that stuff like that, keep them in there.
Yeah,
fighting with everything that you have. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do; people can see that. They can feel that stuff.
Yeah, awesome. And I think that's something that probably transcends wrestling too. That like when someone is fully engaged in something, they're giving it their absolute all. You can see it in every major sport. You can see it in any profession. You can you know when someone's in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's incredible. Out of left field question for you. What is that cheat meal looking like?
Oh, man. Dude, that's a tough one, man. It depends on what it is. Honestly, like 80% of the time, it's like Chinese food. When I first started on my diet, it's the first time I ever decided to do anything like this, like ever. Because like I've always grew up, my grandma's and my mom was cooking. I never was. I was like, I ain't never gonna eat clean. Yeah, I'll be fine, like whatever. But like I had to start doing it to get to myself to that, that next level. And I'm still doing it so I can get myself to even a higher level, because you have to. Or else I'm gonna get overshadowed by tons of big dudes.
Yeah.
With that, so like I have to. But like when I first started it, man, I didn't know I was like, I would daydream about eating Chinese food, man. That was weird.
I mean, I'm doing that now, but
like it was. I'm like, yo, what? This is a different experience.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of the times it's like that, big time.
Awesome. I have a kind of a question. You're primarily doing most of your wrestling in like the Denver, Colorado area. Do you find that when you go wrestle other places, like at different altitudes, that it's easier?
I guess I never really pay attention to stuff like that. Honestly, everyone always says something about them coming here, and it's like, oh man, I got wind and I'm blown. Like, I guess I'm used to it. So when I go somewhere else, I never really pay attention if I could do or not, because I try not to in the first place, even when I'm here. So I guess I'll try to pay attention to it like that. And I mean, yeah, because I was just in California at Best of the West last weekend, and man, that was a banger. I was able to go.
Yeah.
And we're right there, right by the sea. So like, yeah, I guess you are right. And then I travel all over the country, man. And but I guess I never really paid attention to that. I should now.
Yeah, just anytime I watch like a Broncos game or any sport in Colorado, they're always talking about the elevation and how like
they're a quick tangent on that. Tracy Porter was a cornerback on the Broncos who couldn't play in home games. Like he like it would mess him up too bad that he was only on their team when they were playing away.
Yeah, it is tough. I always tell everybody that comes in that wants to wrestle for us, I'm like, hey, dude, if you can come in a day early, just so that we can get your body, accommodated to the altitude. You can get in, do some sort of cardio for like, an hour to kind of get your body simulated to everything. Because like, yeah, it is a big difference when you're not used to it from here, I guess.
Yeah.
What so far, because you're saying you're wrestling all these guys all over the country, what has been in the last year or so your favorite match you've done, and who's a dream opponent for?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Very, very tough one. There are a lot of guys I love wrestling. I guess like the first one that comes to mind is like I love wrestling my homie JD Mason from Northwest Pro. Good friend of mine. He runs Northwest Pro over there in Spokane, Washington, right there, just like right next to Seattle, Washington. I love going out there. It's a good time. But like, I love wrestling this guy. He's so good. Oh my god, he's so good because he like eats, sleeps, and shits wrestling all the time. He always has like some sort of old tape running. He's always dissecting this and everything. Like he's so good at for what he does. Like when I'm wrestling him, I have so much fun, and he watches all of my stuff too. So like when I'm wrestling him, like he'll say, "All right, do this. Let's get this." And I'm like, "Oh, this is nice. This is nice. All right, let's go." So I love wrestling that guy. Let's see. Just last weekend, I had the match with this guy Chupacabra. He over at Best of the West. I loved that match. That was so much fun. I really did enjoy that match. He's based off of in Reno, Nevada, and he travels everywhere too. He's been doing this for a long time as well. But that match I just had with him was so much fun. That was awesome. And being able to win over the crowd, being a brand new face to them was awesome. A good feeling. So I did recently. That's all I can really think of right now. A dream opponent. Ooh, that one's tough. That one's really tough. I think this is one cat that I really want to wrestle in Arizona. His name is EJ Sparks, and the dude's fantastic. Oh my god, I love watching him wrestle. He's such a good wrestler, and but I think we have a lot of the same style, and I think him and I can put on something pretty good. And I think it's also like at the same time too, like he'll do a really good job at being able to push me to another level.
That's awesome, man.
And on a similar vein, we kind of want to wrap things up. Be cognizant of your time, but who are some guys that you work with or that you kind of are on the roads with that you think more people should know about besides?
Oh, dude, there's so many people. First on my list, man, Dante King. My dude Dante King, he's one of Gino's students over there at Off the Ropes.
Yeah.
Man, the kid is amazing. He's so good at what he does, man. Whether if he's a face or a heel, is good, and he's always so engaging. He's easy to hate, and he's easy to love, and he's so crisp in the ring, man. And I share a locker room with him about 80% of the time, no matter where I go. It's crazy. Anywhere I'm out of state, he's right there. Even in state, he's right there. And so I love wrestling him, and I love sharing the locker room with him. You guys need to definitely check him out. My boy Damon Ace for sure. He's kind of he's been wrestling same amount as I have. Doesn't have a lot of miles on him like the way I do, but he's starting to figure it out. He's starting to do it, and I think he's gonna blow up something pretty big. And so I think people should check him out. It's easy to check him out. Like I said, on Rocky Mountain Pro all the time, man. YouTube/Rocky Mountain Pro every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we have an archive full of so much stuff there too. Check it out. Always check it out. Let's see, who else is there? Who else? A list. I think I made a list or something. Yeah, and then from there, of course, you see I said my boy JD Mason. He deserves more than what he gets, man. The dude is amazing. He ended up being he's so good, very underrated guy. Definitely check him out. I just shared the weekend with Sledge. He forever grateful for him for all the stuff that he does for me too. He teaches me a lot. I learned a lot from the guy. Always be watching out for him. I think pretty big things are going to happen for him soon. I really hope so. So always just keep an eye out for that one. And then I think the last one I want to say is my tag team partner over here at Rocky Mountain Pro, Echo Boosin. That is my guy, my dog to death. I don't like relying on a lot of people. Not a huge fan of people in general. So that's why I haven't really done any tag team stuff recently. But with him, dude, we click like that. Amazing guy, amazing wrestler. He's been doing this for actually a very long time. He's aging very well. And I'm always learning from him. He's always teaching me something new, and the dude is amazing. So definitely watch him. Same thing, Rocky Mountain Pro. He's with me. We're a tag team called La Isla. That's the island in Spanish. And I think that's it.
Awesome. That's a lot of good names that we haven't heard of. Usually we talk to a lot of guys on the East Coast and we get a lot of repeat guys. So it's always good to hear guys that we've never heard of that we can share with the people that listen to this as well.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. Like I said, all these guys have done something for me, and this is the best, the easiest thing with these. Like the least I can do is, try to give them a little something back, as in any way that I possibly can.
Yeah, of course. Well, we've had a blast talking.
Yeah,
with
this
you.
has been great, man.
We want to make sure you have a good rest of your night, so we're gonna let you go. I don't know if you watch Dynamite, but we'll let you go so you can watch Dynamite.
Yeah, right on.
But we'd love to have you back on sometime to talk some more. We're gonna be looking out for you. We're gonna be rooting for you, and hopefully the next time you're on AEW, you're picking up the win.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, let me know, man. I had a lot of fun with this. This was actually a lot of fun. Anytime you guys do some nerd talk, you let me know too, because I'm all for it.
I got you.
Awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You as well.